Today I'm going to show you how to make a DIY gas rocket launcher. It'll use your standard 40mm gas grenade. It uses PVC. I'm going to show you how to make the rockets for it and the sights. This is my newest sight that I have on it now. It's pretty cool. It shoots over 200 feet or so, so that's why I adjusted and put this new sight on it. Check it out and enjoy. And today I'm going to show you how to build a budget rocket launcher for airsoft. This is powered with a 40mm gas grenade. So either my ICS shell like I use here, it's a gas powered grenade, or any other standard shell. Of course, if you have a bigger one, it's going to be a little more powerful and have more gas. That's good. Things that you're going to need. I like using a 4-inch angle grinder because you can use this for cutting pipe, for making parts, shaping things, grinding things, making things smooth, making things rough. You can do everything with the grinder. If you don't have an angle grinder, you can use a hand hacksaw like this and a file. It takes a lot more work, but you don't need to have an angle grinder to do it. You're going to need some pipe. This is 2 1/4 inches outside diameter. So from the outside wall to the outside wall, 2 1/4 inches. You're going to need a coupler, which is going to fit over this, and then you're going to need a cap. And this is the most important part of your launcher because it's easy to find a pipe, cut it to size. It's the hardest thing is to make the button to make the grenade ignite. So a coupler goes on the pipe, cap goes in here. You'll actually glue this. I like to use right here plastic steel. You can find this in any local hardware store or any kind of very strong epoxy. So you put your glue here, seals into here, and you have a cap that threads off. I took mine, I drilled out this center hole, drill out the center hole. This is what it looks like on the launcher. My back piece here just twists off. I built it up with duct tape so when I put it on, it's a nice snug fit, so there's no way that cap can blow off or even fall off. This piece is glued into it right now. So if you take a look at it, you can see this is glued into here, and this is what the cap looks like. I took a bolt, so you can get a better look at that, a bolt and a nut. This is my button for pushing and hitting up against the target. This is screwed into here, and I grind down this nut to make it smaller. If you look close, you can see the details in here. Let me try to show you. I took the red button here is a piece of a cutting board that I used. I just happen to have a red cutting board, so it looks cool having the red button on the back. And I ground it down so it fit inside of this hole, and then I left part of it flat. So that's what the angle grinder is good for. This is all one piece. This piece and this piece here, it's all one piece. I just ground it down so it's the shape I wanted. This is that hex nut that I had. Now it's nice and smooth and round, and it's smaller so it can hit the back of that grenade and set it off. So if you see here, if you look closely, this is flush on the inside. There's no bumps. I countersunk holes in here and in here, so when that button is in the set position, it's not touching the back of the shell, or probably touching it, but it's not pressing on it actually. So when I push the button in the back, it only moves about 1/4 inch or so, and that allows it to go off, and then the power from the back of this just resets that button again. Of course, you're going to take it out, refill it up with gas anyways, and go again. But some of the things that you need to know about making this. Once again, that pipe was easy. You just take that pipe and you cut it. That pipe is cut to about 28 inches long or so. You can make it longer or you can make it shorter. I bought a 10-foot piece of pipe, so that pipe can actually make me 3 grenade launchers if I cut this at about 28 and a half inches long. So you need a pipe, coupler, and the cap, and then just a bolt and a nut. The way I mounted my sights on here, you see these are M4 sights. I don't use the sights from my M4, so I decided I'd put them on here, and I had a folding handle laying around too, so this handle can fold in, or I can press the button here and I could just take it off if I want to. You can see there's an extra layer of PVC here, and here, and here. That's to make the PVC thicker, so when I glue this piece to this piece and I go to screw this in, instead of having a very small surface, now I have a thicker surface to screw it into. And all you do is take a piece of that PVC and just with the jigsaw, with the hacksaw, with the knife, just cut out. I cut a small piece for the front sights and rear sights, and I cut a longer piece for that longer rail. And actually, this rail right here, this is an aluminum rail. I used one piece for here, then I took another one and I cut it in half. So I have one for this sight, one for this. If you don't want to buy rails, you can use plastic rails off of a cheap gun, or you can just this rough, so that way when I mount it to my PVC and I use my plastic steel, it sticks and it stays on there. And then all I do is just screw those pieces in with small screws. I don't want the screws to go all the way into the tube, so if I measure them and they're a little bit longer, I'll take my file and I'll file down the tip of that screw. So as you look down the barrel, there's nothing in there that can catch or snag your rockets. It should be perfectly smooth inside of there. Speaking of rockets and ammunition, these are some of the things that I've made. I've got my longer rocket. It's got a foam tip. I got the foam from the packaging for my airsoft gun, so I actually used a silicone caulking tube and I hollowed it out. There's no more silicone in it. I put the foam halfway into the chamber and glued it in there with the Elasto-Seal, just like a roof sealant. And then I built up a little bit of electrical tape just so it's real close to the inside diameter of the pipe, so it's nice and smooth so I don't lose air when I shoot it out. I tied a tail, pushed a hole inside of this and tied a tail to this. So when you see this on the ground, you know you're dead. But the most important thing about having a tail is when this projectile leaves the barrel, it's going to want to move, and sometimes it's going to want to tumble because of the force behind it. With that elastic seal, that Elasto-Seal glue, that puts a little bit of weight in the tip, which is where you want the weight, close to the tip, not too much so. The tail will stabilize the rocket in the air, so when it's flying, that tail flutters and keeps the rocket going where you want it. So I made a big one, I made a medium-sized one, and I made a small one, just so you have different ones. If you want to carry a lot of them, you can make the smaller one. If you don't have any silicone caulking tubes, you can use toilet paper tubing. Just use a bigger piece of the toilet paper tube and do the same thing. Wrap it with duct tape or wrap it with electrical tape so it makes it nice and strong. I actually use the toilet paper tube for a BB round. Wrap duct tape on it, put some, this is a, you can tell this is a used round. This one holds about 250 BBs in it, but this wouldn't be on here yet. I'd tape a piece of paper on the bottom and I'd fill this up with BBs. It would hold probably about 250 to 300 BBs or so. And then I'd put a piece of paper on top and just put tape just around the edge, so when that goes into the rocket and that gas grenade is behind it, that blows this out and it blows all of the BBs out, creating a huge BB shower. Like I said, you can make it bigger in 250, 300, 400, 500 BBs, as much as you want. And if you do that, use the cheap BBs. Just buy the cheapest ones you can find at the market. Don't use your good BBs for that, because you'll go through a lot of BBs. It'll get expensive to use it. So I use the cheapest BBs, or just scoop some off the ground and reuse BBs. It doesn't matter what kind you use for this. So that takes care of our rockets. Like I said, any M203 shell will work. I prefer the ICS one. It's a lot easier to reset. It doesn't have bearings in it like these ones do. And these are about 1,500 pesos here in the Philippines, which is roughly $30, $33, somewhere around that range. Show you how it works. I've got my coupler with my cap in it. I've drilled out the inside of this hole, or grinded it out, or used a file. So this fits in. You see it's nice and snug. That fits in, that slides in. And then you take your gas, fill it up, 3 or 4 seconds worth of gas. I've got my cap with my button on it. See, there's even no need to take the cap off. You can leave the cap on all the time if you want to. So I would have this, I'd fill it up with gas, I would take whatever projectile that I want, and I'd put this projectile in. I make the cartridges hollow here, so you can actually fold up and push all of the ribbon into it. Show you what it means. It's a lot nicer and neater. You tuck all of the ribbon in here, so when that slides into the tube, this actually goes into here, and it gives it puts the gas source right up against the inside of the rocket. Or you could leave it hanging out if you want to. Either way, when it goes out, that ribbon pops out and fires. So whatever projectile I want, I put it in here first. I take this, twist it on, make sure it's nice and snug, line up my sights with my target if I want. If I'm close up, it's going to go straight. Then I just push the button, so I'd look, aim, and you've got a nice shot. And then to reload it, really easy. Just twist, it comes off, fill it up with gas, put another rocket in a few seconds, you can have it reloaded. If anybody has any questions, you can contact me here on YouTube, or those of you guys that know me on Facebook, you can ask me questions. I'm always on Facebook. And like I said, basic tools, measuring tape to measure how long you want things, 4-inch grinder will do just about everything. If you don't have it, simple hacksaw or a knife and a file to make your small parts. Said the most important part was making that button system, so you have something to press on that will push the button on the inside of that grenade and set it off. Hopefully you like this. It cost maybe, just for the pipe, for a 10-foot piece of pipe, is 267 pesos. It's about $5 or $6 in the US. But because you bought a 10-foot piece, that means you can make 3 of these if you wanted to. So it's really only about 100 pesos worth of material. The coupler was 10 pesos, which is only a few cents. The cap that goes on the back, that was only, I think it was 15 pesos. So once again, you're looking at less than 150 pesos to make one of these. Then if you decide to buy rails, you get these rails for anywhere from 150 to 250 pesos each. And then sights, you can take them off your gun or buy some. That's going to make the launcher more expensive. But what I recommend is buy a cheap gun from the market, a plastic one, and take off the plastic rails and the plastic sights, because you're really just putting this on here for looks. You can use it to aim, but most of the time it's just for looks. And then the handle, if you didn't want to use an airsoft handle and spend 300, 350 pesos, then you can put a wooden handle on here and mount it. Really, really easy project to do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Next project you're going to see me breaking down is my homemade M203 grenade launcher. This is actually the launcher that I mount on my MP5 Navy CQB gun. I'll be going over this on my next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. One last look at it. It's got sights, it's got rails, and it's really easy and really inexpensive to make. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Guys, this is Mike, and I want to share with you my new round that I made for my rocket launcher. You've seen me shoot my other rounds. This is the one that I've shot before in the other video, the big one. I've got a medium-sized one and a small one. And now I have a BB round. This one holds about 250 BBs, and we're going to see how it works right now. Let me load it up. Put the round in the chamber. Screw on the cap, and I'm going to shoot it down range. Ready? Let's see if this works. Hopefully this works out. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was nice. And I used cheap BBs, yellow BBs, because they cost almost nothing. And as you can see, now there are 250 BBs all over the floor, and lots of them in my target too. Hopefully you enjoyed my video. That was my BB round for my rocket launcher. There it is. I need to get for hitting one of the barricades. I'm going for that one that has the M on it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom! Got my gas grenade, my shell. The subject is Eris. He says I can't hit him. Wait, let me put my sights up so you see. Make sure you get like this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh! How'd that feel?
Like a punch.